I the a-hole for refusing to go to my sister's wedding if she uses her dream wedding planner? I love my mom and sister, but to be honest, they're obsessed with money/status/image. When I got engaged to my now ex-fiancé, my mom immediately hired me the hottest event planner in our city. This woman was hard to get and had done some beautiful events we had previously attended. She was fine at first, but as time went on, I felt she was being catty and I really want to back out of our contract. But my mom reminded me of how much she had spent and convinced me it was in my head. Well, lo and behold, a few weeks before the wedding, my now ex had a breakdown about how he couldn't marry me because he was in love with someone else. Now looking back, I ignored a lot of red flags and he was clearly depressed in our relationship. But at the time, I was shocked. I'll admit that I just wanted to be married and ignored a lot of clear signs that he was miserable. He ended up leaving me for the freaking wedding planner. It was a difficult and humiliating time, which my mom and sister helped me get through. He said some things which have really impacted my self-esteem long-term, about how he never meant for this to happen, but he didn't realize how deeply he could feel things until he met her. That was 3 years ago, and they are currently married. My sister recently got engaged, and my mom went out and hired my wedding planner's business partner. Now they co-owned a business, so him making money means her making money. Not to mention, he is her close and personal friend. He literally walked her down the aisle to marry my ex. I expressed to my mom and sister how hurtful this was. They brushed it off and said that he is his own person and not responsible for what she did. I can see that, but I still feel that they are putting the best of the best over my feelings. I finally said that if they continued working with him, I wouldn't be attending. I know realistically it is ridiculous, but I just don't want my mom giving the homewrecker a dime. My sister cried and said I was sabotaging her wedding, and my mom thinks I'm being petty. Now for the top comments. Info. Did you leave a review for the wedding planner that your fiancé and her got together while she was planning your wedding? That would have been just the right touch of petty revenge. Also, not the a-hole. Your sister, mom, ex-fiancé, and ex-wedding planner all suck. Yes, she gets called a loose woman around town a lot, but it hasn't hurt business. It seems to hurt my ex how people talk about her, but she has fun with it and lead into the whole image. Not the a-hole. We're talking about wedding planners, not surgeons. Find literally anyone else. Your sister can't possibly have her dream wedding without hiring the company owned by your cheating ex and wedding planner. Your wedding planner literally broke up your relationship while planning your wedding. I think your feelings are totally justified. There are so many wedding planners. Not the a-hole. Your mom and sister are clearly the a-holes. I don't even get why everyone says you are. I totally agree. I can't imagine being this tone deaf that they think the OP isn't going to mind. That business is tainted by the current wedding planner's partner stealing a groom. What the heck? But hey, the OP isn't forcing the sister to do anything. She's just saying she won't be there to watch it. The OP's sister can still use the wedding planner. She just can't have her cake and eat it too. Keep the tainted wedding planner and have OP pretend that nothing is wrong. Not the a-hole. Why haven't you gone scorched earth on the wedding planner's business? Pretty sure if you blasted them on social media, she wouldn't be a wedding planner anymore. I don't see that happening. We live in a very image-driven, competitive city, and she does the best work. No one cares what she did because she delivers. It was spread around, and she does have a reputation now, but that doesn't hurt her business. Next story. Am I the a-hole for speaking Italian to my girlfriend's rude Italian-American family and embarrassing them? Backstory. Due to my dad's job, we lived in Italy for 3 years when I was younger, so I speak Italian almost fluently. It's been a while, so I've lost some of it. Recently, I started dating a girl. She's great, and I love her so much. And I met her family a few nights ago for dinner. She warned me that the male side of her family is very big into being macho, into testing the boys the women date, and are very big on taking pride in their Italian ancestry. I think besides the grandfather, however, they were almost all born in Bergen County, New Jersey. But whatever, it's nice to take pride in one's heritage. Long story short, at dinner they kept making jokes at my expense. I honestly wouldn't call it bullying, just things about my height, beard, shaved head. They tried making fun of my IT job too, but stopped once I told them my income. It was overall not a bad experience, but a not so pleasant one. Anyways, her older brother kept pushing things. giving me exceptional amounts of crap for playing lacrosse in high school because apparently it's a sport for prissy rich kids and not manly like football or baseball. He ended his rant by saying, "Hey, we're just a big Italian family. We're allowed and tell it how we see it. Ha ha ha." And all the family except my girlfriend laughed. So I, for the next minute, responded to everything they said in Italian. My girlfriend buried her head in shame. The grandfather laughed and everyone else kept looking at each other confused before telling me they didn't speak Italian. I replied, "Then don't use your Italian heritage as an excuse to behave poorly when you can't even speak the language." They got mad, but the grandfather told them all I was right and to be quiet. My girlfriend isn't mad, just ashamed. I think the grandfather likes me, but word from my girlfriend's sister is that all the men are furious, think I'm a smart mouth, and that I disrespected them and their masculinity in an unforgivable way. So am I the a-hole? Edited to add, there may have been some confusion as to my girlfriend's reaction. She was ashamed her family dug so deep into me, not about my response. After wanting to die for the next 48 hours, she agreed I did the right thing and that it was funny. Lol, not the a-hole. The granddad knows it. He probably half rolls his eyes every time they say they are Italian when he knows he's the last speaker. You shut them down in the most epic/appropriate way possible. Your girlfriend should be proud flaunting that her boyfriend is more Italian than any of them. Yeah, this. Not the a-hole. I bet the granddad absolutely loves you. LMAO. The pure savagery from what you said and did is so golden. You totally won the heart of your girlfriend's grandfather. I wish I had that kind of grandfather, but mine is an a-hole. You and your girlfriend are lucky to have each other. Not the a-hole. Sending good vibes. They sound like idiots, and this response sounds kind of funny. But if I was planning on dating someone for any length of time, I probably wouldn't dunk on their family so hard the first time I met them. There's a difference between was I an a-hole and was this a good idea. I mean, the family could have done the same thing and not ragged on him so hard, considering he might be around for a long time. Exactly. If the brothers and other male relatives want a continued good relationship with their sister, they need to make a good impression on her partner, just as much as the other way around. We don't live in feudal societies anymore. The clan isn't everything. Edited to add, also, in the long run, being a doormat is not the way to deal with bullies. They will take that as invitation to continue or escalate. Once they get over their hurt feelings, they will respect him more for standing up for himself. Best to set the right precedence right away. Not the a-hole. It sounds like the boys were hoping to put you through a hazing ritual, and you weren't biting and put them in their place. And Grandpa proved. If they truly cared about masculinity, they'd like him. But it seems like they only care if they are personally more masculine than any other guy that may become regulars in their family life. Oh, and a hard not the a-hole OP. Yeah, also want to add that this is more Italian-American culture than Italian, more specific Northeast US. I'm from the area and you don't have to say Jersey for me to know where this took place. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my cousin she is being disrespectful by having her mother-in-law sit in the backseat of the car? We were going on a trip with my cousin Sonia and her husband Joe. Joe's mom would also come on the trip. We'd ride in separate cars. I'd be with my husband in our own car, and cousin, her husband, and mother-in-law would go in theirs. When they pulled up at our house so we could all leave together for the road trip, I saw Sonia sitting in the front seat and her mother-in-law sitting in the back, and it rubbed me the wrong way, but I didn't say anything at that moment. After we arrived and chit-chatted a bit, I told my cousin that I've never seen anyone do what she did in the car. She asked what I'm referring to, and I told her that I've never seen anyone make their mom or mother-in-law sit in the back seat. That's your husband's mom. You should show some respect and offer her the front seat. She laughed and asked if I'm being serious. I told her I'm 100% serious, and my husband backed me up and said that it's my duty to respect the woman who birthed and raised him. And I'm on the same page as him. I've never even dared to think of having my mother-in-law in the back seat while I take the front. It's a respect thing which she apparently lacks. Then my cousin's husband, but also her mother-in-law, verbally cussed me out and defended my cousin. Her husband says what they do in their car is none of my concern, so I either shut my mouth now or they leave the trip. Her mother-in-law also told me that I've got it all wrong, and as mother-in-law, it's her responsibility to show respect to the couple and treat her son's wife as a priority, and that she's respecting my cousin by taking the back seat. I was called an a-hole and my husband was called one too because we are apparently not minding our business. And my cousin said that if I enjoy being second to my husband's mother, that's a me problem. After that, they left the trip and went to another place to stay because they didn't like the energy we brought. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. Not every mother-in-law is some stereotypical witch that thinks she's the number one woman in her son's life and needs to pull rank and demand respect at every opportunity. Why does a mother-in-law need to split up partners from sitting next to each other in their own car? The couple was fine with it. The mom was fine with it. You were rude AF and insulted everyone. Not to mention, maybe mother-in-law prefers the back seat? I mean, I'll sit in the front if it's just me and the driver, but if there's more than 2 people, I prefer the back seat. I can chill and watch the world go by with no one asking me to man the GPS or change the radio or whatever. Not that I mind doing those things, but it's nice not to. Exactly. I'm Asian, and in my culture, backseat is reserved for the boss. It is also a safer spot in case of an accident. Not saying you have to offer backseat either, but people can make their own decisions on where they'd want to sit. It's crazy that Opie makes it such a big deal. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole. It was none of your business, and they were happy with their arrangement. Not your place to interfere or share your disapproval. Not to mention that the mother-in-law is an adult woman and more than capable of speaking for herself if she thought she had been slighted. I don't know why Opie thought it was her responsibility to say anything, much less her place. She is definitely capable. She let Opie have it for being the a-hole. It is awesome to read about a mother-in-law who has the daughter-in-law's back. Literally in this case. Opie is the a-hole. Imagine telling people where to sit in their own cars. It is also the first time I've heard of mother-in-laws getting dibs on the front seat. I did always have my husband's grandmother in the front seats because she had mobility issues, and we could move the front seat forward and back with electronic controls for easier access. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for dropping out as maid of honor in my older sister's wedding? Backstory. I, 23 female, have 2 sisters. Jenna, 25, Summer, 19, and a brother, Jason, 22. My parents also took in a family member, Rachel, 11, a few months ago. Rachel has been through a lot. She doesn't talk, she never lets go of this little stuffed elephant, and she follows my mom everywhere. She can't go to school yet because my mom and her therapist agreed that it would be too much for her. Rachel is the sweetest kid ever though. She's always down to cuddle and watch a Disney movie, and she has the cutest smile. I was even allowed to touch her elephant the other day. Jenna has always been a pretty difficult person. She hasn't lived at home in a while. She moved out for college, moved back home for a few months, then moved in with her boyfriend, now fiancé. My parents have been using her room as a guest room, but they never changed anything about it. Rachel has also been staying there. My parents are going to adopt Rachel, and they want to turn Jenna's old room into Rachel's new room. They told Jenna they're turning her old room into Rachel's room, so she needs to come and go through her stuff and decide what she wants to keep and what she wants to donate/throw away. Jenna said they can find another place to put Rachel, and she's not giving up her room. My parents said they already made their decision, and Jenna made an ultimatum. Either our parents keep her room the way it is, or she goes no contact. My dad and I packed all of Jenna's stuff into boxes and put it in an empty garage. We painted Rachel's new room, put together furniture, and filled a closet with new clothes and toys. We even built in a snack bar. Rachel loves it. She's starting to stay in her room more. Before, she'd only go in her room if she needed to change or sleep. And I'm pretty sure I heard her talking to her elephant. Not as good as talking to a person, but we'll take it. The problem is, now Jenna and my parents are in a huge fight. Jenna went no contact and uninvited my parents from her wedding. In retaliation, my parents announced that they wouldn't pay for half of the wedding anymore. And they're not going to pay the down payment on a house for Jenna and her fiancé, their wedding present. This has caused Jenna to call them abusive and neglectful to anyone that'll listen. I was supposed to be her maid of honor, but I can't believe she's acting like this, so I dropped out of the wedding party. Now Jenna's even madder, and her fiancé is saying the entire family is being cruel to her. Not the a-hole. Jenna's reaction to all of this is massively out of proportion and entitled. But I am curious, was there any other good option for Rachel's room? Jason doesn't live here anymore, but my parents give us 1 year at home after college, so I'm sure they want to keep it open for him if he needs it. Your parents sound like very thoughtful people. Between my sophomore and junior year of college, I took a summer course overseas. When I came back, my parents had sold their 4-bedroom house, parents minus 2 guest bedrooms, and moved into a new 4-bedroom house. The new house had parents' room, office, grandson's room for visits, and a guest room. I had been staying in my bedroom for a few weeks before going overseas, and the house wasn't even for sale, nor did I hear any discussion on selling it. Damn, that's a hell of a gut punch to come home to. Hope they at least kept your stuff. My parents have a friend that just up and moved while their kid was off at college, and the kid did not find out until he came back to visit and found a completely different family living there. Definitely not the a-hole. My mom turned my brother's room into a guest room after he moved out. My old room? That's where her 2 cats live. Jenna is a huge a-hole, not only for being absurd about keeping her old room as a shrine, but even more so if Rachel finds out. Sounds like Rachel's been through some traumatic stuff and doesn't need the added trauma of feeling unwelcome and unwanted. Jenna's room has been the guest room since she moved out. They just never got around to changing anything in the room. Too long didn't read. Sister threw an epic tantrum and made a no-going-back ultimatum. Parents called her bluff, which included a huge monetary amount, and now sister is crying victim. Not the a-hole. Beware though, Jenna has nothing left to throw at her parents. But if she gets within sight of Rachel, she is going to aim every bit of venom she has at an innocent child, which could set the poor kid back years.